Today I'm working a hat doing the mini bean stitch. And as most of you know, I don't use a pattern. My band is my safeguard. So I did a half double crochet, a single crochet foundation chain. And I wrap it around my head to see how it fits. And then after I join it, I put it on my head to get my fit right. So if it's a little too loose, I'll take a couple stitches out. A little too tight, I'll add a couple stitches until I get the right fit on my band. And then I went up a few rows and did a few rows of single crochet. Now with the mini bean stitch, after the band, you do a mini bean stitch, skip one mini bean stitch, skip one mini bean stitch all the way around. But I like to open up my hats above the brim, so I did a mini bean stitch, a mini bean stitch, skip one, mini bean stitch, skip one. I added an extra mini bean stitch probably 4 or 5 times around this next row, so it opened it up just a little bit, so it gave me a little more stretch around the hat. And with the mini bean stitch, you get this really pretty soft texture, and it kind of crisscrosses, which I love. But the trick to getting that looking that way is to actually take your hat after you finish a row, and then you're going to be working on the inside of your hat to do the next row. So you've got to join and then turn. So you're working on the inside, join, turn, work on the outside. When you get to, I'm on the outside of my hat right now. So when I get to the outside of my hat, I chain one up, and then you would think you'd go into this space here, but you don't. You're going to skip right over it and you're going to go into this space here. So your mini bean stitches are going to be placed there. You'll see like a cross here, a post that comes up, and that it's right after that post right there. So skip this area, look for your post, and then go in right there. And you're going to do a mini bean stitch in every single one of those around. So you're going to skip this big poof and then go into that hole right here and do your mini bean stitch. And you can Google mini bean stitch. It's a really, really simple stitch. What I find in making them is I usually use a K-hook, and I crochet really loosely to get a nice fluffy effect with the mini bean stitch, and it fills in nice. So when I go in and pull up my loop, I actually stretch my loop up to give it a little bit more of a fluff. So anyway, when you get to the top, this is going to be a messy bun hat. So when I get up where I think it's almost tall enough is when I'm going to start decreasing. And a lot of people have trouble with decreasing. I don't fret about it, because the goal is to just make this inside a little bit smaller for your messy bun. So this is going to stop being my decrease row right here. So I'll go in and I'll decrease 2 together, and then I'll skip 4 or 5, 6, depending on what I feel like doing, and then I'll put 2 together again. And then the next row, I'll make it a little bit less. So instead of going 5 or 6 in between, I do maybe 4 in between. What I do is, instead of paying attention to how many I'm doing in a decrease, is I watch the shape of my hat, because I want my hat to start curving in naturally. If I stop pointing, I know that I'm decreasing too fast or too much. So at that point, I know I'm done. And then I leave a long tail, put it on a needle, and then I just go through all my stitches around the whole edge of the hat, and then I just pull it wherever I need that opening to be. So if I'm closing up the entire hat, I would pull it closed. For a messy bun hat, I would leave it about 3 inches, the hole about 3 inches. So anyway, that's the mini bean stitch. It comes out beautiful, and I hope you'll enjoy the video.